Hey, it's Superintendent Horsley from Granite School District with another snapshot. Today I wanted to talk about something that's kind of been pressing from the local news media, from the national perspective, with a lot of politics swirling around the Department of Education, the Federal Department of Education, and its possible elimination through an executive order by President Trump. A lot of people have been reaching out to me asking me, what does this mean for public education? What does it mean for Granite School District? And to be honest, we've received very little information about what the possible implications are. But let me give you a little bit of broader perspective. The department and its existence actually have no direct tie to the funding mechanisms that help prop up and support our budget here in Granite School District. We do receive a number of federal funds that are primarily allocated to Title I, which is additional funding for at-risk kids who are impoverished. And we also receive a number of special education dollars from the federal government. There's some other smaller pots of money that we receive some additional supports from the federal government to help, again, sustain our budget, mostly, again, for at-risk populations. So I guess the primary concern would be is if the Department of Education is slowly phased out or eliminated or even downsized. Those funding streams are totally separate and are parts of different types of legislation that were enacted even before the Department of Education came into existence. So there's not necessarily any existing tie or correlation, even though they do help administer those funds. Those funds actually come to the State Board of Education and then get allocated to us based on our qualifications and our eligibility to receive those funds. So we do receive a large portion of those funds from the federal government. So if we were to lose that revenue in some other way, we would have to make that up somehow, either through a property tax increase or through additional funding from the state, which are our other two primary methods of receiving revenue to support our education system. So at this point in time, very little is known. The Department of Education, primarily our interactions with them deal with FERPA, which is privacy laws, and how we maintain student privacy information and student records and enforcement of that, and what's called the Office of Civil Rights, which is also through the Department of Justice. So our expectation is that business will continue to be as usual. There might be some interactions through the Department of Education that might be hampered a little bit just by virtue of the fact that they are receiving a downsizing in their staff. But to this point in time and to this date, the start of April, we really don't know what that looks like. So now you know what I know, which is very little. Our funding streams, we don't anticipate to be hampered, but at the same time, the Department of Education in and of itself, it does not have a direct bearing on our day-to-day operations. So hopefully that's helpful. And if you do have other questions, feel free to shoot them over. And again, as we get more information from the federal government or from the state, we'll be sure to update our patrons and our employees with respect to those impacts and how that might impact not just public education, but Granite School District in general. I hope that's helpful to you, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.